Hi guys! I'm in my new sewing room, yay! If you guys didn't know, I did move because I have been looking for a bigger workspace. So it's very exciting and you'll get to see a lot of it today as I take you through this tutorial of the Sunday dress. We are making this Sunday dress. She is so cute. She is for beginners. So there are no pockets in this pattern. This is like gonna be your first garment, a pretty chill, easy garment to make. The hardest part is the bias binding. If this is truly your first time making clothing, I suggest using pre-made bias tape that you buy at the store. So let me go show you what kind of bias tape that is. So pre-made bias tape will come in little packages like this and is called extra wide double fold, 1/2 inch wide. Okay, and this is double fold bias tape. And when you open it up, I'm just gonna get up close and personal here. Let me see if I can, there we go. It folds over twice and you open it up. You can open it up twice like this. That's gonna be your best bet if you're really new to sewing. But you can do it. You can make your own. In this tutorial today, I am gonna be teaching you how to make your own bias tape and as it instructs us in the pattern, and then we will be making the dress. The other thing to note is that in this pattern, you have two options. A bodice with no dart, okay? So that's just gonna be like a straight bodice, and a bodice with a dart. And a dart essentially in this pattern is on the side seam, and it gives you a little more structure if you have a bigger, nicer, fuller bust. So I am pretty flat, like an A cup, B cup kind of deal. But if you have a bigger cup, do the dart, okay? It's gonna be better for you. It'll fit a little better. It's super easy. It's one more step. You don't gotta worry about it. And let me show you the pattern piece. The pattern piece, if you so choose to do the dart, will come like this. I cut mine out, but it comes together. The lines go like this. So I cut mine out to make a marking, but your pattern piece will be connected right there, and you just cut the whole thing out. So make your choices. So you gotta choose, are you making your own bias tape? Excuse me, are you gonna make your own bias tape? Or buy it pre-made, very easy. And are you gonna make the bodice with the dart or the bodice without? It's totally up to you. If you don't wanna mess with the dart, don't worry about it. If you don't wanna make your own bias tape, don't worry about it. The first step we all need to do is to grab the pattern, print it out, tape it together, all that good stuff. Once you have that all taped up and cut out in your size, come back here, meet back here with me, and then we're gonna get started. I'm gonna go cut out my fabric. Oh, look what fabric I'm using. So cute, so precious. This is from Joann's, and rest in peace to our girl Joann's. Let's look at this fabric. Oh, so perfect for summer. And then I'm gonna be making bias tape out of some extra red fabric that I have. So I'm gonna cut out, I'm gonna do the bodice with the dart so I can show you guys how to just mark that and do that. And I also will be showing you how to make your own bias tape, so we're gonna do that. You go cut out your pattern and your fabric, and I will go do the same, and then let's meet right back here. LOL, I actually don't have enough of that other fabric, so I am using this tablecloth for the Sunday dress. And Because of this, I have to piece some of the parts together. So I'm gonna show you how I do that in case you're doing a patchwork version of this dress, and how I leave seam allowances for the front and back bodice. You can see here, I cut my front and bodice piece, and if I line it up to the edge, you can see I left about 1 centimeter. I added that because I know I'm gonna sew these two pieces together. So if you're gonna patchwork your dress and do two different colors or any kind of patchwork, you always gotta leave a seam allowance for the edge. That normally is on the fold. Because I'm not sewing this on the fold, and I will be sewing these two pieces together to make a full front bodice, I did leave extra. And then I'm gonna do that again on the back bodice. So I have my front pieces cut, and let's cut the back bodice. All right, so I have my back bodice here. And again, I'm just gonna leave, 1 centimeter from the edge of my fabric. Because it's not on the fold, I have to connect these pieces just for that seam allowance. I'm gonna go ahead and cut. Now, some people use pattern weights. I don't. I am a chaos sewist, and I just do whatever's gonna be easiest and fastest, and I don't. That's how I like it. I am also upcycling this tablecloth, and I'm working with what I got. So I'm trying not to make extra cuts because I'm gonna probably use as much of this tablecloth as I can. Alrighty. Okay, so I have my two skirt pieces cut, my front bodice, and my back bodice. Now, since you guys probably aren't doing patchwork or upcycling, when you open these up, these will be together, okay? So you'll have one front bodice and one back bodice piece, okay? Right now, mine are separated because I needed to use what I had, the fabric I had, so don't worry about it. But I'm gonna show you how to add the darts. The next step in this process, if you are making a bodice with darts, is to add the darts. So I just take my bodice piece, my front bodice piece, and I turn it wrong side up, wrong side of the fabric up. And I lay my pattern piece on half of it. And I just take a pen and I just mark along the line of the fabric or the pattern, just like so. You can use a ruler to help you keep it straight. It's totally fine. Now, I just flip this over, boom. And I just match on the edge, the pattern to the edge, and to the bottom, make sure it's all aligned. And I do the same thing. Okay, amazing. Now, it's time for us to make the bias tape square. All right, I've got my square here, and I'm just gonna take it corner to corner like this in half, and I'm gonna do a nice press just with my fingers, okay? Because I feel like a finger press just gives you a pretty good line. Let's see. Yep, I can see the line from corner to corner. So now I'm just gonna cut this just down the middle like so. And my ruler doesn't reach, but I don't really mind. I'll just adjust when I get to the end. Like so. Great. Amazing. Now, we are going to go like this. I think using stripes is the easiest way to understand this. So we're doing right sides together, and the grain of the fabric needs to be going the same direction. So if I did, I mean, it wouldn't really work any other way, but I need the grains of the fabric to be going the same direction. See how the stripes are all going this way? That means it's correct. So I'm just gonna mark corner to corner here, just match up corner to corner. And now I'm gonna pin along the edges, like so. And I personally use clips. Okay. And we're gonna do a 1/4 inch seam allowance along this edge. There we go. I'm gonna sew that and I'll be right back. And you sew that too, 1/4 inch. Okay, so it started like this, right? And I sewed that 1/4 inch. And now I opened it up, and I did already take it to my machine and just press this seam flat. So if you haven't done that, just go ahead and do that really quick. Okay, I have a yardstick. I also have a measuring tape and a Sharpie so you can see. You don't necessarily need a yardstick. I just find it makes it easier, but get something to measure with. We are gonna make 2-inch long strips across, but how I like to do it is along one side from the bottom. I do 2 inches, because it's at an angle, it's 2.75 inches. 2.75 is right there. I make a dot. 2.75. I make a dot. 2.75. And so on and so forth. Okay. And we're not gonna worry if we have a little extra, right, that doesn't really make it. Okay, so because I started from the bottom here, I'm gonna start from the bottom on the other side. Oh, let me bring up the exposure 1 second so we can see. It's a little dark, there we go. Okay, so over here, same thing. Okay, so from the corner, 2.75 dot. 2.75 dot. Okay, all the way up the edge. Two 2.75, 2.75, and again, we're not going to worry about this little edge that's extra, okay? Now, we are going to connect these dots. And essentially, it's going to give us 2-inch long strips, okay? And I kind of like to Do this. Oops, like this. Get this edge straight. And I'm using my mat to make sure I'm kind of getting 2-inch strips. Okay, like that. Perfect. I'm gonna use a Sharpie so that you can see. Once again. Oh, that one looks, so that's fine. I probably messed up here, but that's okay. That's why you see me compensating. But don't worry. Just do you. It's okay. I wonder why I did that. I'm not gonna worry about it. It's fine. It's really fine. Okay, and just kind of connect your dots. Okay, and then we'll have this. Okay, so I don't know if that cut off early last time, but let's just flip this over, bring these corners in, and we're gonna match up these lines, but we need to offset it by 1 line. Because if we don't do that, then we're just gonna end up cutting ribbons, like circles. I'm sorry, instead of 1 long ribbon we can use for bias tape. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pin that. Okay. And I kind of want the lines to cross a little bit, okay? So that when it gets sewn, let me zoom in here. Okay, so when it gets sewn together, these lines will be as close to being like, you know, continuous as possible. So just know, because we're gonna sew on a 1/4-inch seam allowance, that's what we're going for. And don't freak out about it not being perfect, okay? That is not the point. We are not making clothes for Beyonce up in here. Like, is this one way off? Absolutely. So maybe I'll just like, you know, maybe I drew that line bad. Maybe I'll just, you know, adjust the rest of these. We don't need to be perfect. Life is not about being perfect. Life is about, you know, doing our best. And that's cool too. That always works, doing our best. I've gotten very far in life doing my best. Okay? So that looks pretty good to me. When it's sewn, I'll probably be able to cut pretty good stripes. So I'm gonna take this to my machine, 1/4-inch seam allowance. You guys go do that, sew that, and I will be back. And I'll do the same. Okay, so I sewed that together. And now I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna cut along this line all the way around, okay? I'm gonna start up here, whatever, I don't really care. Okay, there we go. Just like that, okay? And you're gonna do the same thing. You just kind of work your way around. Just like that. Beautiful. Okay, and essentially this is gonna give you lots and lots of bias tape out of, you know, a relatively small amount of scrap fabric. Such a cool trick, such a cool hack. Okay, and I'm gonna show you this. So, right here, oh yeah, my lines, maybe it looks like, okay, they don't match up perfectly. I'm not gonna trip. I'm just gonna, like, you know, cut through the difference. It's not a big deal. We're not gonna worry about things. We're just doing our best, right? It's not about perfection, it's about getting it done. All right, I'm gonna cut the rest. You guys cut the rest and I'll meet you back. Okay, so I cut all of that into bias tape. I personally don't like to make it, I don't like to fold it and do all that and iron it. I'm just gonna leave it as is and we'll use it later. So that's my tip. Let's not waste time folding it. So let's grab our bodice pieces. Now, I am patchworking some pieces together. So my first step is going to be to connect these two. My front bodice pieces, like this, and sew them together. And I'm gonna do the same thing with my back bodice pieces. So I'm gonna go, we always sew right sides together for the most part. So that's the center of my back. And I'm gonna go take that to my machine and sew it together. And I'll meet you back here when that's done. Okay, so now we're probably all on the same step. Let's get our front bodice and our back bodice. If you aren't doing darts, then you're just gonna move on to the next step. But if you are doing darts, let's stay here. We will need pins. Let me grab that. Okay, I got my pins. And I'm just gonna start with one dart. I'm just gonna zoom in here for us so we can see this better. Okay, so I have my dart marked. Maybe I'll use this dart, it's more clear. And I'm just gonna fold. I'm just gonna take this and I'm just gonna fold. I'm just gonna pinch right at that little bust right here. And I like to just, what I actually like to do is just take it to my machine and not pin it all, but that's not the best way. I'm gonna take pins and hit one line and hit the other line. Then I can kind of just pinch it together. So we want the lines, right? I like to meet the lines right here. Just like this. So that, let me show you. So that on this side, the line meets here. If you have a little overhang like that, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Okay, so this line is the same on that line. And let's pin in place. Okay, so I have both of my darts all pinned, and I'm just gonna take this to my sewing machine, and I'm gonna start at the center and sew out. And don't backstitch right here, just leave it, and we'll tie it in a knot when we're done, okay? So it's pinned on both sides, and let's go sew those darts down. I'll be right back. Okay, so I sewed these darts down, and you're just gonna take these tails and tie a knot. I think this is the proper way because it prevents puckering with the backstitch, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I backstitch my darts because once again, I am not a perfectionist kind of sewist. I think I backstitched this one. I don't really mind. So I'm showing you the proper way, but I don't care. And now we're gonna take our bodice to our ironing board, and I'm just gonna press these flat up towards the arm side, okay? So I'll be back after I press it. Okay, everything is pressed. So we have our front bodice. If you're not using darts, you didn't need to do all that. So just grab your front bodice and your back bodice. And I'm just gonna pin, and you know when I say pin, I mean clip. I'm just gonna clip everything together. Okay, like so. The shoulders and at the side seams. And we are going to do a 1 centimeter seam allowance, or 3/8 an inch. And I'm gonna take this to my machine and I'm gonna sew, and so are you. And I'm gonna overlock stitch it as well. If you don't have an overlock stitch, it's okay. You're just gonna do a zigzag stitch on the edges, okay? So I'll do that, you do that, and I'll meet you here. Just so you can kind of see a 1 centimeter seam allowance. It's like this. All right. Oops. Let me do this first. So we got our bodice all finished, and we're gonna grab our bias tape that we made, and we are going to just turn our garment like so, okay? We're gonna do right here. And I'm gonna put the right side of the bias tape, if you made your own, or even if you didn't, to the wrong side of the armhole, okay? And I'm just gonna pin that all the way around. Okay, I've pretty much got it pinned all the way around the armhole. I'm gonna cut off, so I know this is going to, you know, be extra, okay? It's definitely longer than the armhole, so I'm just gonna cut off right here, like this extra piece, okay? And when I sew, I'm gonna sew right at this, probably, okay, let me show you this. So here's the side seam. I'm gonna start 1/2 inch away from this side seam, and then I'm gonna end 1/2 inch away from the side seam, okay? So I'll go do that, and I'm gonna sew all the way around, and we're gonna do a centimeter, or let's see. We're gonna do, yeah, a centimeter, 3/8 an inch, all the way around, okay? So I'm gonna go do that, and I'll be right back. So I sewed that all the way around, so now our bias tape is on, but we need to finish connecting it. So what I like to do is I'm gonna kind of just lay that excess seam flat, okay, I don't know if you saw that. Let me show you again. Okay, so let's leave those hanging out, okay? So I don't want to get, I want this to be flat, right, when I sew it. So I'm just going to tuck that side seam down a little bit. Let me show you way up close. Okay, just flat. Okay, put that in there. Okay, and then I'm just going to take any edge of the bodice right there, okay, and connect these with my hand, like so. Now, I want to sew just to the right of this bodice line, okay? Let me get it to focus. So, when I take this to my machine, I'm going to sew right straight down, okay? And we're not going to catch the bodice in there. We're just going to sew straight down, just to the right. See where that bodice bubble is bubbling in there? That's the bodice. We just want to connect these right to the right of that, okay? As close as you can without catching the bodice. So I'm going to do that, and so are you. I'll be right back. Okay, I did it. We sewed it. So now, you know, it's taut to the arm side. It's flat against it. I'm gonna grab my scissors, just cut off this excess. And now, all you have to do is sew the rest of that way, all the way around. And you just lay this flat, okay? And go sew that. I'm gonna do mine, you do yours. Okay, gorgeous. So that is sewn all the way around there now. And you know what? Let's just clean up the threads while we're at it. Good habit of trimming as you go. It's much easier than having a garment full of threads you gotta clean up later. Okay, and now let's turn this baby right side out. Okay, now, bias tape. Gorgeous. So, now we're gonna fold this over because we want this to be nice, okay? So I'm gonna fold it like once, like so. Let me see, maybe I can zoom in here for you. Okay, so once, so it's out, right? I'm just gonna start here. Once like so, and then twice over. And then I'm gonna clip or pin in place. Either one, whatever you got. Okay, so now I'm gonna, you know, kind of adjust here and kind of keep going along with that all the way around. Okay, now you're gonna get a really nice bias binding all the way around. Okay. This is going to be easier for you. I'm just adjusting here. Okay. Just twice. Okay, this is the seam for the bias tape. So there might be both. I'm going to do that part last because I like to do it last. Okay, so on the shoulder, we're just kind of folding once and then twice, just following along and pinning and clipping as we go. All right. Now, this bias tape I'm using that I made does have stretch to it. Do not recommend, do not do that. You are not gonna have a good time. I'm really good at sewing, and I already know this is not gonna be a fun time for me. But I think it will work, and it will be cute, and you know, I can handle it, but okay. So it's just like once and twice, once and twice. This candy stripe is gonna be good and incredibly precious. So precious. Okay, now, if you feel like you got too much extra, okay, like I can feel like I'm like there's a little bit extra right here. I can just tighten it up. Sorry, let me get in the view here. If you feel like you're folding once, folding twice, and you have like, I don't know, too much bias tape, like see, I feel like I have too much, that's fine. I'm just gonna kind of roll it in my fingers, the bias tape, like that, along the seam, and kind of tuck it under. There we go. Because I won't have, it's just right at this seam here. Kind of just work it out. There we go. Perfect. Beautiful. Alrighty. Let me fix this. Okay. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay. So now, so cute. Yes, this was the right choice. So now I'm gonna take this to my machine and I'm just gonna sew right along the edge here. Okay? On the outside, on the front. Not on the inside, on the back, on, oh, let me zoom out. Gorgeous, okay? Sewing right along the outside edge, all the way. I'm gonna take that to my machine and sew, and I'll be right back. Okay, so gorgeous. Look at that binding. Is it focused? There we go. I can't tell if it's focused. Okay, anywho, looks beautiful inside, looks beautiful outside. And the cool thing is, like, it doesn't matter if it catches on the inside because it's already sewn on the inside. Beautiful. So now I'm gonna do the rest on the neckline and the other arm. I'm gonna do that, you're gonna do that. It's the same exact process if you need to watch it again. I like to start the neckline maybe on the back shoulder right here, and then the other arm side, just like we did on this side, kind of close to the armpit, okay? So you guys go do that, and I'll be back when I'm done. Okay, wow. She is all done. Just the bodice, okay? I did the binding, and she looks gorgeous. Let's put that aside, and we're gonna grab our 2 skirt panels. Nice. Let's see if I can zoom out here. Probably like this. Okay, amazing. So I got one, and this is the right side. Look how cute this is gonna be. And I'm just gonna lay my second panel. Okay, right sides together, so you should only be seeing your wrong side up. And I'm just going to pin at the side seams, okay, or clip, and sew together. I'm gonna grab the other side seams and match them up as well. Okay, beautiful. You can do more pins or more clips, whatever you prefer. And then again, 1 centimeter and overlock stitch or zigzag so it doesn't fray if you don't have a serger. So I'm gonna do that and I'll see you in a second. All right, so I'm gonna just show you up close here. There we go. I finished both my edges. And now, the side seam, excuse me. I'm just gonna turn it right side out. And we are going to do a gathering stitch along the top. So I'm gonna start just to the, right of the seam all the way around twice, 2 rows of gathering stitches, okay? And a gathering stitch is a stitch that is on the longest stitch length of your machine, and we do not back stitch. So you start and you go, and do not back stitch when you start or when you start, okay? So I'm gonna take this to my machine and do 2 rows, and so are you. I'll see you back. Okay, so here's my stitch length. It's on the highest. And then I'm gonna show you this. Okay, and I'm just gonna go and sew all the way around. No back stitch, okay? Just, a centimeter away from the top. I cut mine uneven, so I'm just gonna do my best because once again, I am not a perfectionist sewer. Continuing to sew here, I'm just gonna go over the other side, the seam on the other side. Okay. right, and as I come up on the edge, oops, it's fine. Again, I'm not worried about perfection. It's not my vibe. Okay, I'm just gonna get pretty close here. No back stitching. Lift up my needle, bring the seam out, and we're leaving long tails. Okay, and then once again, I'm gonna start the second row of gathering stitches right underneath the first row, just like so. Leaving a long tail, no back stitch. So I'm gonna finish that, and you guys too, and we'll gather this and attach it to the bodice when I get back, when we're done. Okay, so I did my 2 gathering stitches. Let's see, can you see this? Yes, let me get out of the way. And I have 2 long tails. Well, I have a lot of long tails because I have 4 on the outside and 4 on the inside. Very important that you do not pull the inside and the outside, because you will tighten the thread and then you won't be able to gather it. So leave the outside on the outside, these tails, and put the inside ones on the inside out of your way. Okay, perfect. Now, let's get our bodice. And how I like to gather was like this. I find the side seam over here, and I just truly just clip it. Just like this. Just to hold it in place. And what this helps me do is we have to gather this long skirt all the way to the same width of this bodice, right? So it kind of just helps me know how much to gather. So I'm gonna leave that over there. And I'm gonna grab the 2 on the outside, the 2 top tails, and I'm just gonna gently start pulling and gathering like this. Okay, and my fabric is a little bit thick. So probably the thickest you could use on a dress like this. The thinner your fabric is, the easier it is. But see, I can still do it. It's not a big deal. Just do it gently and work the gathers on the way over there. Just like so. And we're going to continue to pull and adjust. And you do not want to break the strings, or else we will have to start over and seam rip all this out and do it again. But don't worry, even if that did happen, it's not a big deal. We're crafting, we're making things with our hands. We're doing so good, and you're such a good person for even attempting this pattern, and just pat yourself on the back for creating something with your own 2 hands. Very magical act you're doing, and good for your soul and your mind. So just, be nice to yourself. No matter what happens, be nice to yourself. You're doing great. See, and look, we're doing great. We're getting those gathers over there. So essentially now, I can kind of, as you can see, we're getting the width closer, the width of the skirt closer to the width of the bodice. And that is what we want to be doing. We want to just keep working the fabric, just like so. Okay, kind of just keeping an eye on, see, we're getting pretty close here. Pretty close. So now I'm really gonna take a look. Pulling this tight. Okay, I think we're pretty good. So now I'm honestly just gonna tie a really loose bow, okay? One that I can untie if I need to. Okay, so the front side is gathered to the front bodice. And I'm just gonna kind of adjust the gathers here so they're looking pretty even. So it's not too gathered in one side, like at one point, and you know, as even as I can get it. That looks pretty good to me. Now we're gonna do the same thing on the back. Okay, just flip it over and grab the long tails over here. And we're just gonna gather. We're gonna gather and adjust the fabric. So I'm gonna finish this backside and you are too. And when you're done, just play the video and we'll be ready to attach the skirt to the bodice. Okay, so I have the back of the skirt gathered now, as well as the front of the skirt. And I'm gonna match up, you know, I want the front to be the front and the back to be the back. Now the skirt front and back are exactly the same in the pattern. Just on the fabric I'm using, the back like has a hole in it, so I know I want that to be the back of my skirt. But don't be confused. And the next thing is I'm gonna turn my bodice inside out, okay? Just like this. And now I'm just gonna take my skirt and I'm gonna plop it through the neckline. Just like so, okay? Now, let me get all my clips. Okay, so I have all my clips. Now, one side seam, okay, and right sides together. I'm gonna do the side seam of the bodice to the side seam of the skirt. And I have a lot of thread over here, but I'm just gonna leave it like up so it doesn't come. Don't trim it yet, just in case you need to gather, something goes wrong. I'm gonna pin the side seams together here. Okay. Nice, just like that. Now, I'm kind of just gonna open this up. And this feels good. This feels like, you know, it's the right gather. It feels like the bodice and the skirt are the same circumference around. So I'm just gonna start slowly pinning the skirt to the bodice to the skirt. Okay, so you just want to make sure everything's kind of taut. Now I'm like, okay, is this a little bit big? Is the skirt a hair bigger? Maybe. I can tighten it closer to the seam right here. And you can see it's not like that gathered. So I'll undo the side seam, find my little knot, my little bow that I tied earlier. Kind of just loosely untie it. See, I think it came untied, that's why. A little extra. Just give it a little nice, just tighten it a little bit. Okay, no big deal again. We got it. It's not a big deal. Nothing's a big deal. Okay, just even out those gathers a bit. Nice. Feels great. I'm not gonna worry about it. Looking beautiful. All right, same thing with the back. We're just gonna pin this some more and/or clip. No big deal, everything feels good. Nice. All right, guys, we're almost done, honestly. Nice, perfect. All right, I'm gonna try to leave these up, all these threads. But don't worry about them too much, it's okay. All right, it's great. Now, let's take this over to the machine. I'm gonna show you how I like to sew this, personally. All right, let's go. Okay, remember to put your stitch length back because I know we just sewed earlier. Now, I always sew from the underside where the gathers are, okay? And I like to just sew along the bottom gather. Just less for me to unpick later. It will be hidden in the seam allowance, and I just gently go. Now, as I go along, I just want to make sure I'm not, you know, sewing over in a way that is going to create like I don't want to sew something where like this fabric is up in this way, because I'll have to unpick it, right? So I'm just making sure that the fabric is laying flat. Yes, it's gathered, so it's bumpy, and that's good. That's what we want. We just want to make sure nothing's up in the way as we sew along that bottom gather. Just like that. Gathers are looking pretty even. I just like to adjust as I go a little bit. Even gathers make it look very professional. You can really tell the quality of something by the gathers. Like, I know there's a lot of indie sewists out there, and when the gathers aren't even, I say ew to myself, LOL. But again, this is our project. It doesn't really matter. You're not selling your garments to anybody. But if you are, I would say that's something to, you know, notice. Really spacing out your gathers so they're not uneven. And it's just a way that makes it look more professional. Okay, wow, actually really enjoying this process. Sometimes I think I would do anything to not gather. I would do anything to not do this, but I'm seeing down below that I have a lot of gathers over here, so I'm just gonna kind of adjust as I go. Nice, beautiful. Okay, beautiful. Here we go. Amazing. Now, if you don't have an overlock machine or a serger, go ahead and zigzag stitch all of this, and I'm gonna trim this nest as well before I do my overlock stitch. See all this junk? Trim that. All right, and then I'll meet you back here. You guys, she is so cute. Now, you still have to hem your dress, but because I used a tablecloth, I don't have to hem my dress. But I just wanted to try it on and show you how cute it is. Got that little scoop neck back, and I did use a tablecloth, so we are looking very cute. I'm gonna take this off and just show you what you're gonna do if you need to hem this dress, but like, wow. Okay, she is looking so cute, like, oh. Okay, wow, she looks so cute. But I'm sure that most of us obviously need to hem your dress. So you're gonna turn your dress inside out, and it's a straight edge, right? So first, I like to start at the side seams, okay? And I just do like a 1/2 inch, okay? Like a 1/2 inch turn. Let me see if I can zoom in here for you. Okay. 1/2 inch turn, and then like a full inch like this, okay? And then you grab your pin and you pin it in place. And you just go around the whole outside doing that same thing, the whole bottom. And you just continue to pin the bottom of your hem. Okay? So 1/2 inch, it's 1 inch. Just making sure it's nice and even. And you can even give it a press before you go and sew it. Okay, my battery died there for a second, but anywho, you're just gonna keep going along the bottom and pinning in place, and then you're gonna sew, and your dress will be done. I am not gonna hem my dress because, as you saw earlier, it was super short, but she's so cute. Okay guys, thank you so much for joining me on this tutorial. Our little Sunday dresses are done and so cute. I'm obsessed. Leave any comments, concerns, questions below, and I will answer them for you, or if you need more clarification on a step, I'll make another video. Happy sewing. I hope you guys enjoy the Sunday dress. Love you. Bye.